Historic and Architectural Review Board meeting for Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. First order of business is a call to order. Second order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next order of business is review and approval of minutes for our meeting of May 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I also say yay. Fourth, application for board review, HARB 2024-06, 134 Runnymede Avenue, Wayne, PA. Install rooftop PV solar system. Before we get into the presentation, I would like to share some basic background on this property. According to Radnor Township records, it is a contributing property. According to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, there's no further information. According to Delaware County property records, year built was 1900. Building area, 2,862 square feet. Living style, old. Again, I love this sometimes with county property records. Exterior walls, masonry. With that being said, please introduce yourself and share your plans with us.
Sure. Hi, good evening. I'm Shannon Warner. My wife Lisa and I have owned 134 Runnymede for 27 years now. When we bought the home, a lot of people in the neighborhood described it as a potential tear down, as horrible as that is to say, right? Times were a little bit different then. The HARB hadn't been established. The home had been vacant for quite a while and then sat on the market for about 18 months. Tons of people had toured it. Nobody wanted to take on the size of the reno project. So we thought long and hard before deciding how we were going to proceed and decided that hearing that tear down, the other reaction we heard when we told people we were considering buying it was, ooh, that's going to be a money pit, right? So that was sort of the perspective at the time. We decided we love the bones of the house, the style. We could see ourselves raising a family there and being there for a very long time. So over that 27-year period, we've done a ton of renovation. Virtually every square inch of the building has been touched. Not quite the same information as what you found in your quick record search, but looking at the deed and some other information that we've been able to find, it seems like it was built around 1893, not 1900. The style, it's varied. It does have a masonry exterior. You have photos, I believe, or at least some in the package, so you can see what that looks like. But it had been ravaged by time, is the way I'd describe it. We're the third owners of the property, pretty amazing for a home of that age. It had been neglected, significant roof leaks, water damage throughout, the hardwood floors glued down with linoleum on top of them so that you couldn't salvage the floors. It was in really bad shape. So we put a lot over the years into renovating it, trying to protect the historical features of the home while modernizing it for living today. So this is not our first time in front of HARB. We were here about 12 years ago when we reconfigured our front patio and covered it. At one time, there had been a wraparound porch. Because of setback requirements now, we couldn't replicate the original wraparound, so we did our best to kind of configure it in a style that worked for the neighborhood. So we got a certificate of appropriateness at that time and proceeded with it. I'm giving you this background just to let you know that we care a lot about the character of the neighborhood and the home, and we try to balance that with modernization and appropriateness for living today. So in our current plans, we want to add solar power to the house, including solar panels on the roof. We believe that the impact is going to be pretty negligible. We'll walk through that in more detail, answer any questions that you may have, and we believe that the benefits far outweigh any potential downside to proceeding with the project. We've engaged our friends here from O'Donnell Roofing and O'Donnell Solar in Berwyn, Pennsylvania. We actually have two Chris Fishers here with us. They happen to have the same name, working for the same company. We'll go with Christopher and Chris to distinguish them. But they're here to help answer any technical questions. And with that, please fire away. Let us know what thoughts you have or questions for us.
With your plans, can you share them? Because we're televised.
Yes, can we
You could
plug
share
in,
them?
guys?
If you open them up, the plans, and just put them on the table, if you have paper plans. Do we?
We could ask Ian to see if the laptop can be plugged in.
There's cables here, but I don't know what that means.
Second question is there a thermostat for this room?
It is a bit warm, yeah.
Try.
HDMI cable should work.
Yep, should.
Here comes IT.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe advance to the plans themselves.
It's not coming up. There we go. All right, and did you want to take over from this point? I'm the IT guy, you can handle this part.
Come on up, Chris. Yeah. all right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So these are the, can you hear me okay? This is the top view, the plot plan. You can see the different solar panels. They've got letters in them. The letters signify stringing, which are grouped together in strings, so you don't need to worry about them. But just to orient you, you can see Runnymede Avenue here. There is one array on this roof plane, which is partially visible from the street. And then there are several other solar panels that are on the back of the home.
So the intent, we put as much as we could on the back of the house, but to get to production capacity, we also had to go onto the west side of the house, that roof. And it's probably because of that we're in front of you guys, that there is some visibility to it from a small angle of view from kind of across or catty corner to the west side of the home. It might help to mention that the choice of the solar panels themselves, I don't know what your perspective is on them, but we chose specifically a brand and a style that is very much kind of a flat black that blends into the dark gray asphalt shingle roof that we have.
I just want to share that when I was reviewing your plans, I thought this was very well done. And I'll share a couple more thoughts. For me, this is the first case we have had since I have been on this board on this issue, solar panels on a house in an historic district. In my former business life, I worked for a weather forecasting company. And I saw you had weather info in there, extreme weather in particular. So I know something about weather conditions, and I appreciated your notes, for I entirely understood. I also worked for a manufacturer of scientific grade light instrumentation. The founder invented the first UV light solar simulator. I have been a student of optics ever since. In my opinion, this case is an adaptation of a house in an historic district to meet a modern day need, want. A question that I have, because a friend of mine worked in the energy industry for quite a long time, energy trading, project management, et cetera. And he and his wife, I guess about 8 months ago, sold their house in New Jersey. They bought it in like 2001, right? And their solar panels were on the side of the house, so they were on the ground. But this was a spectacular structure. I only wish I could show you a picture of it, but unfortunately, I couldn't contact him, or him getting back to me most recently. Now, what he knew about the energy industry is one of his reasons for doing that is that, okay, we're going to get a lot of our electricity. It's not going to cost us anything. And then we're going to have a surplus and then sell it back to the grid. So my question to you is, will the house owners over time sell some of their generated electricity back to the grid?
I'll take a first stab at answering that. So this configuration, which kind of maximizes the production that we can get out of it, will have us generating about 75% of our current annual power needs from the solar panels. There may be times when we're producing surplus amounts, not using it up as quickly as we're producing it. So Pennsylvania is a net metering state, so that automatically any excess flows back into the grid for utilization wherever it's appropriate. So if I could get to 100% production on there, I would love to, but that's really about the optimized value right there. Any additional comments or?
No, that's exactly right. And anything that flows back into the grid generates a credit with PICO, and that credit can get drawn upon in later months or days or times, like nighttime when your solar's not working, you can use up that credit to offset some of your purchase.
I just wanted to share a bit further that my friend and his wife, they lived in New Jersey, and they had that house there, so I know. As Tom was sharing with me earlier, that, you know, things are different between states in that regard, so. But I have no further questions.
I'm good.
Are there any further comments or questions from the board?
One thing that I noticed was the inclusion, sorry about that, the inclusion of how it would look on the roof. The house, the sun is coming from the back side, which means you're really going to notice it from the front. And if everybody did it, we wouldn't have a climate crisis if this were adopted by everybody in the world. Now, this is sounding highly political, but I'm afraid that this happens to be the truth. 25% of the electric. It's just incredible. And I was amazed by that. And in fact, you backed up every statistic. I mean, everything that you showed, was backed up in every possible way. You did a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much. They did do a great job, and we've certainly learned a lot through the process. I encourage others to at least explore the possibility of using solar. You mentioned it, possibly being a political position or statement, but I think almost no matter what your political beliefs may be, there's economic benefit, financial. So for us, the expected break even on the expense of paying for this system up front is a little over 12 years. After that 75% of power that we're saving the expense of each year is profit to us, right? We're avoiding that expense going forward. So for purely financial reasons, you might want to do it. I agree that it can help, with having a clean energy source instead of others. But you also have the potential to support the power grid, right? As power demands, especially during peak periods, become tougher to meet with growing populations and energy consumption. Having these sort of individual power plants available in a networked fashion to help the grid deal with drawing on the power that we're producing individually at our homes, to help that, you're kind of contributing to that as well. There's a lot of positives. I don't sell this. That's not my job. As I've learned more, though, I'm more enthusiastic about proceeding with this project.
One other thing I would just like to share too, after I reviewed your plans and your presentation in the papers, I thought this was like so well done. I'm keeping them. I mean, your argument was fantastic, and if I know of any others that would like to go solar, I'm going to show them these, and I hope at least their contractor could do at least as a good job as you have done. I was just impressed by it, knowing what the little I know in weather and UV and things like that. And my experiments are too in optics. Well, that's another story. But anyway, okay. Enough of my preaching.
So I'm a sympathetic board member because I have the panels on my house, and they were put on before the harp was created. So they've been on there for a while. So, and what's that? Yes, you have.
Okay, so that's one vote.
I move for a letter of
Certificate of
appropriateness.
I second that motion.
Okay, let me just do a little bit more formally. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Go, Tom.
Yes, I move for a certificate of appropriateness.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also say yay. The motion carries unanimously. The board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. And thank you again for a job well done and for presenting to us today.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your service here. I know this is all voluntary. We appreciate your focus on helping the community move forward while respecting its history. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? Do we want to adjourn? Okay.
Bring up.
Okay, cool.
That
We have,
is why-
Terry?
I'm still on.
Oh, okay.
Candid camera. I received possibly the best news I've had as a friend and a long-time realtor. This friendship goes back 60 years, and many years ago, they bought 5 acres, and it overlooks a pond. It has deer wandering through the backyard. It is one of the most fabulous properties in the township. The house goes back to 1767. It's been preserved. The owner cares as much about its history as we do. And I believe it's Wildlife Conservation Trust, but I had eye surgery this week, and I'm finding that these glasses, which are supposed to be blended, are not doing a very good job. So I'm going to read it without them. But on December 5th, 2023, WCT accepted the first ever donation of a conservation easement on property located in Radnor Township, Delaware County, thanks to the conservation vision of H. Ross Watson. His 5.6-acre property on Langdale Road, known as Frog Hollow, will be preserved for the benefit of the scenic, historic, and natural attributes, and forever protected from further development. As natural areas and wildlife habitats in our communities become more and more fragmented due to increased development pressure, we are grateful for the generosity of private landowners like Mr. Watson, who have chosen to preserve their land for the enjoyment of future generations of wildlife and people. In another first for WCT, the conservation project was accomplished in partnership with the Preservation Alliance for the Greater Philadelphia, which concurrently accepted the donation of a preservation easement protecting the property's historic buildings. The Preservation Alliance notes that Mr. Watson's 18th century home and other buildings on the site contribute to this historic sense of place and feeling of the property and represent a valuable example of a historic architectural style worthy of preservation, and indeed it is. The conservation easement held up by WCT will complement the work of Preservation Alliance by protecting the property's important ecological features, wild habitats, which include native and non-invasive plant species, riparian resources associated with an unnamed tributary of Darby Creek, and a spring-fed pond, which is lovely, wetlands, open grasslands, and steeply sloped woodlands. I can't say enough for the property. I've known Moss for many, many years, and this to me is one of the most exciting things I've ever read, because the property is 5 acres. It's totally protected. You won't see it from the road, but the land is just so beautiful, and the wildlife that he described is spectacular, and the house is my kind of house. It's an 18th century stone.
Any ghosts?
Anyway,
I still
thank
love
you.
a ghost story, let
Thank
me
you.
tell you.
It's one of the most exciting things, but it's really exciting for the township. I mean, it's fabulous. As a realtor, I wanted that. But what we were supposed to ask is, are you interested in selling, and we can divide it up? That's not my style. And this is just perfect. What he did with it, so benefits the township. I cannot tell you. Wonderful. So we'll all be better off for it.
I also second and third that. I'm taking 2 double votes here, but I agree with Tom. Thank you, Terry, for sharing that with us. I think, looks like we're all in agreement. Okay, with that being said, I know we're going to adjourn, but before we do, the next HARB meeting is scheduled for July 3rd, 2024 at 6:30. Applications for the July 3rd meeting must be submitted on or before June 18th, 2024.
Will not most people be somewhere else during that period of time?
Probably, but you just have to let us know. Or if, maybe, we,
Supposed to have it the week after instead, so that people who want to do something between now and then have more time, and we, as a group, may be able to go somewhere else during that.
I'm sorry, that's not allowed.
but,
Well, this is discussion that we can have as a group that has to
Well, Tom, I was thinking, with the issue that you brought up, let's see if we get any cases. Because maybe we won't. Everybody's going to be what? Down the shore in the mountains, right? Maybe, I don't know. But that could happen, so. Well, let's give it some time and, see what we get, and then maybe we can look at it a little bit further. I know we've had at least 1 or 2 cases, I think, since Terry and I have been on the board, where dates have got moved for, a couple of reasons. Remember those, Terry? We had one that was like, when we normally meet, but then it was rescheduled to the week after for some reason. I do remember that. You don't remember? Oh, okay, yeah, that was it. Yeah, the availability of the room, because the Radnor commissioners had, I believe, had some kind of like special meeting. So, and they're special, so, we had to go like to the next week or something like that. But let's see what we get, because maybe we won't get any cases. We've had those over the years, so. Very well. Thank you for sharing with us, Tom. Well, is there any further questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, folks, thank you for joining us, and we are adjourned.